Malam Gusau, it's good to have you on the program. A whole lot happening within your state, and many wondered how these people, especially those that have just returned home for Christmas, can be reintegrated in the society. Not forgetting that someone who's not a Nigerian has promised to see to their education. Apart from that, what exactly is the state doing for these 21 that have returned?
Well, thank you so much, Suleiman. I will take you back to the fact that a lot of people don't know this. There are 56 girls who escaped, from Chibok after the abduction in 2014. They are currently schooling in international schools in Plateau State and in Katsina State. These girls are fully under the scholarship of Borno State government. The state government pays for their scholarship.
How many of them?
On their tuition.
You want to tell us the number, please?
While the governor, yes, on those 56 girls that escaped. So those 56 girls, like I said, are being provided for. They are currently schooling, and it is the wish of the governor that these 21 girls join them. When he met the girls in Chibok on Monday, I think I have a video of the conversations that they had. Maybe I can share it with China's television. One of the things that he mentioned was that now that the girls are in high spirits, thanks to the very good work of the Department of State Security, which did a lot in their rehabilitation, he thinks that the next phase should be their education. And he was asking them whether they would want to join, the 56 colleagues of theirs. He feels that by the time they join them, they will feel more at home. It will be easy for them to quickly get back on their feet and continue their education. But then you don't throw away, a gift from someone that is offering to give. What it means is that he's increasing the opportunities, for other people. If Borno State government had the money to provide for these 21 girls, and take them to these schools, if somebody else comes and says he's doing it, I think it makes sense to allow him to do it so that money can be extended to more, citizens. So I think it's a welcome development that we have that offer. But even without it, the Borno State government was already prepared to take over the responsibility because it's our responsibility.
So going forward on these girls' education, because we have had calls to also speak with a few of them, and we realize how disconnected they've been for the time that they've been in the forest with the terrorists. For those other families who welcomed these girls, we could see some pains and disappointment in the eyes of a whole lot of them who didn't get to see their children. What are the efforts? Because we understand that the Borno State government is so in touch with the Nigerian military and the federal government. What form of assurance are we having that the other girls will be returned, having gotten to Sambisa Forest, where many thought was the holding facility or holding place of the other girls, and we met it empty with no girls there. So is there any assurance that these girls will be found?
The most priceless assets of the Boko Haram are the Chibok girls. Usually, when you are in a war, you try to secure your asset, because once that asset is taken, the Boko Haram know that if not for the Chibok girls, the military would have taken over Sambisa Forest long before now. They know. And that's why they will do everything to secure the Chibok girls. The Chibok girls, as their last resort. So we believe that they must have taken them out of the Sambisa Forest, otherwise they would have been found there. But then, like I said at the beginning of this interview, no true parent gives up on a missing child. I'm a father, I have a daughter. The governor has got 2 daughters. Most of the government officials in Borno State have got daughters. We know what it means for a child to be missing. We have not given up. The Governor Shetima is deeply concerned. Like I said earlier, one of the #1 champion of the Chibok girls who does it without the media is the wife of the governor, Nana Shetima. They know how passionate she is. The parents know. And, you know, after the Chibok abduction, she was the only woman that visited Chibok when it was impossible to visit Chibok because of the threats and the landmines, you know, around the road. But she was there. So, like I said, the governor is very optimistic. We can never give up on these girls until they are returned to their families. And then there are certain things in government that we cannot come out and say in public. But I believe so much is being done by the president, and the governor of Borno State is deeply committed to what the president is doing. He has absolute confidence in the president. He has confidence in the military. And we believe that by the special grace of God, these girls will be recovered.
Now you're talking about roads. So you said landmines.
One of the things that came up recently, I'm sure you have been following events nationally, is that the Senate investigated the presidential initiative on the Northeast, which was supposed to help alleviate, you know, the sufferings of those who, you know, have been caught up as victims of terrorist attacks. What precisely, you know, has been the input of the Borno State government in that? Are you people interested in what is happening? Are you following events there? What's your take on it?
Well, Governor Shetima is deeply interested for the fact that Borno stands to gain or lose. We are the victims of it. The people of Borno State, those who are affected by the insurgency, are the victims, in quote, where it is established that there is a wrongdoing, and they are the beneficiaries if everything goes well. So we are following everything, but Governor Shetima does not want to comment on it since it's at the level of the National Assembly. The investigation, I believe, is still ongoing. I remember the majority leader made some clarification that there was still room for the SGF to come and make his case. And then the president, like we know, has directed the AGF to investigate the matter. So we wouldn't want to preempt the outcome of the investigation. We'd rather wait until the investigation is concluded. At that point, Governor Shetima may decide to make comment or not.
This is as the governor himself is asking that 500 million naira, which was earmarked for the repair of Chibok, the government girls' secondary school, be accounted for. And he said that people should stop making money. There are definitely fears, you know, that this crisis in the Northeast could become something that people would exploit. How is the Borno State government guarding against that?
Well, part of the strategies the governor is deploying is talking about it, like he did. I watched the video you showed. It was actually in Chibok in April this year, when during the 2nd anniversary of the missing Chibok girls. That was when he made that comment. And then we all know, we all saw the former Minister of Finance who was in Chibok, even though Chibok is a state-owned school, and the federal government took over the school. The governor was not even brought into the picture. We just saw the former Minister of Finance laying foundation stone for the rebuilding of the school. At that point, we would have come out to speak against it, but we saw it as a welcome development. It's our job. You are taking us out of it, but if you want to do it, so be it. Unfortunately, one would have thought that given the kind of commitment that was shown, even though as we are beginning to confirm that it was just for the purpose of propaganda, we would have thought that by now that school would have been completed. Unfortunately, it has not been done.
I'm a little worried about coordination. I mean, there are so many initiatives. First of all, you have the non-governmental organizations that are coming in. The state government is also earmarking and trying to raise funds to ensure that they're able to rebuild the Northeast. You also have the presidential initiative. All of these efforts, is there any general overseeing body coordinating rebuilding efforts and ensuring that, you know, we're all working towards the same goal?
Well, at the level of the state government, you'd recall that in September, the governor created a ministry specifically for that. Borno State government has the Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement that coordinates the whole of it. And in terms of the humanitarian aspect, the secretary to the state government is the chief humanitarian officer of Borno State. He coordinates the humanitarian response on the part of the Borno State government. Now, at the level of the federal government, that's where you have series of committees. You have the PINE, you have the PCNI, you have many of them.
The Victim Support Fund?
Yes, you have many of them. That is at the level of the federal government, not at the level of the state government. But thankfully, when the president inaugurated the PCNI, I think he directed that the PCNI, all other committees will collapse into the PCNI. And then we are also happy that the Senate, the National Assembly, has passed the bill to establish the Northeast Development Commission. We believe that by the time that comes into fusion, they will probably take over, what the PCN and other committees are doing, and that will be an institutional response. But at our level, regardless of what obtains at the federal government, Governor Shettima is really going on with reconstruction works. We are currently carrying out reconstruction in 10 local government areas, and you'll be surprised to know the extent of progress. If you go to Bama now, Bama is beginning to have a completely new look. Bama was the most destroyed. If you go to Kaga local government, the reconstruction works have been completed. But then we are getting some support, I must say that, from some of the federal government agencies.
I'll take you up on that in just a moment, especially when you look at the allocation. First of all, we know that the houses will never be enough. I mean, the reconstruction that is being done, a lot of IDPs are concerned that those houses might not be given to them, or that they will not be able to benefit from that. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, when you're looking at development by itself, there will also be concerns as to how we know that even people within the Borno state government are not taking advantage of the situation. How is the governor able to guard against that? There are reports that some people were selling food meant for IDPs, and it was seen that there was no investigation conducted into that. What we heard was a denial.
No, I think maybe you didn't follow the update, because I remember that 2 weeks ago, the governor actually spoke with the commissioner of police to deploy some detectives into the camps. That was done, and that was why they were able to arrest some officials that made some attempt to move out 50 bags of rice out of one of the IDP camps, the Bakassi IDP camp, 2 weeks ago. And as soon as they were arrested, a statement was issued. I issued the statement on the governor's directive, telling the CP not to entertain any appeal from any quarter. The governor insisted that these officials that were arrested must be prosecuted and jailed. And I think that is being done, by the Nigerian police force. But of course, in every system, you would not have everyone key into the objective of the governor. No matter no matter the kind of integrity that you bring into a process, those who want shortcut would always deploy means to beat you. Now, the onus is on you to continue to also develop means of blocking leakages, and that's what Governor Kassim Shettima, is doing. So we have that. We are dealing with that. But on the issue of reconstruction, I want to take you back. Like I started talking about, in Dikwa, for instance, we had some support from the Victim Support Fund. They donated building materials worth 250 million to rebuild 16 projects. They had identified hospitals. They marked 22 projects. To their surprise, Governor Shettima ensured that the items they brought for 22 projects were used to rebuild 40 projects. General Tiwa Njuma was so impressed that he said, look, he was going himself to go and commission this project. And he said that with the kind of prudence displayed by Governor Shettima, the Victim Support Fund has absolute confidence in the Borno State government, and they will be willing to give whatever kind of support. And I think at the moment, the Victim Support has also offered some sort of support in some reconstruction works ongoing in Bama. But then it's our responsibility as the state government. The Borno State government leads the process. We spend the most of the money either in terms of the feeding or in terms of the reconstruction work. Is our responsibility, and we have to continue doing it.